step in your river, and it takes me deep. Your heart is my temple, your tears rinse my feet. I walk out, I'm able to carry your peace. It reminds me of a song that I heard long ago. Maybe I've always known that you were right there. A simple melody playing over and over in my dreams, but somehow out of reach, eluding me until I release. You come close to me when I release, and I let you take the lead when I release. My heart starts to see when I release. When I release, you said, come to my garden, eat from my tree, step in my river, let it take you deep. Your heart is my temple, your tears rinse my feet. You walk out, you're able to carry my peace. It's an ancient sound heard from the ones who came before. Now it's here once more to pierce your soul. A simple melody playing over and over in your streets, like a whirlwind turning keys, tearing down the dark. That's where I release, and my heart starts to sing when I release. I let you take the lead when I release. You come close to me when I release. When I release, it's all in your feelings. It's all how I receive your sound. All in your feelings, your emotions, they find me out. It's all in your feelings. It's all how I receive your sound. All in your feelings, your emotions, they find me out. When I let it go, when I let it go, when I let it go, I let it all go. Now I let it go. Hey, now I let it go. Whoa, I let it go. Whoa, I let
What's up, everybody? We are live. It is Tuesday night, and we're here in the Lions Den, and we're doing the live stream that we do every Tuesday. You're in the Lions Den with us. We appreciate everybody who's tuning in right now. Make sure you guys hit that like button, share this video, let everybody know that we are live right now. We're going to talk about some real stuff. You know what it is. You're watching Young Lion TV.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, won't you get up and start fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding.
That's right. We are live with the fellas in the Lions Den. It's Tuesday night, so you know that what that means. We got to talk about some real stuff. And we just went live on Facebook. I see we're live on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, and now for the first time ever, we're live on Instagram as well. Instagram just opened up the platform to using the stream key situation. So we are live on our Instagram. So shout out to anybody who's watching on the IG right now, the Young Lion TV IG. We've been getting a lot of activity over there, especially with the comments and the clips that we post up. So shout out to those who are watching over there. If you're watching right now, make sure you like this video and share this, man. Share this with people because we talk about stuff that the algorithm does not like. But we're going to get into some stuff tonight as well, of course, like we always do. But if you're not familiar with what we do here, the Young Lion TV podcast is a group of brothers and friends and family that, we have our certain views and things that we've developed through life circumstances, us being in the music business and traveling around the world and experiencing a lot of different things. And we learned a lot along the way. And now we're husbands, fathers, we try to be leaders. And a lot of the stuff that we talk about is ways to, kind of break the spells that were over us when we were young that made us make the mistakes that we made and help other young people not make those mistakes, especially young men. That's what the Young Lion Pride is all about. And of course, it all comes from our belief in Jesus Christ as our foundation for all of that. So, if that's something that you want to get down with, make sure you share this. And also, we have a Patreon that you can support the cause as well and become a part of the Pride easily by going to our Patreon, patreon.com/YoungLionTV. And for as little as $3 a month, you can become a member, support what we do, help us to fund this thing that we've been growing a lot in 2023. And we're going to try to keep it growing in 2024 and do more things, try to do some live events. We're trying to incorporate it with our live shows as well. But I got my brothers with me today. I got, of course, the coolest Asian in the world. He's rocking his favorite beanie right now. He's been wearing that beanie very consistently. He is our brother, Simone Chang.
What's up? I do love this beanie.
And, of course, he's my big brother, but he's everybody's big brother. If you know him, you know that. He is the preacher, the teacher, the people reacher, Mr. Jacob Eugene Evans III, sitting over there.
I'm trying to figure out how to share this to stories. It's not giving me the option.
It's not letting you share it?
No, not to stories.
On Instagram.
On Instagram.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the angle is...
okay. Yeah, it's the ratio is messed up.
Yeah.
It's set up for the portrait mode. Yeah. That sucks. Well, we got to figure that out. We'll figure that out. If you're watching on IG, when we go to their angle, you're gonna see the in between both of them, but they're all in the same camera shot. But yeah, can they see you there? Well, I don't know. But again, we appreciate y'all. And then, of course, we got producing this evening. My mom, she's a fan favorite, the best producer in the world. She's under the weather this evening. So we got our young producer in the building. We got Elise Evans sitting there producing, helping out this evening. So shout out to her. But yeah, if you guys are watching this, again, make sure you like the video, hit the share button, help us spread the word. And don't forget we have merch too if you want to support the cause in that way and you want to get some cool Young Lion shirts. And, the message of that is also, unique as well because it comes from the Bible. It's Ezekiel 19, and it's also about you repping the fact that you support us in a cool way. You know, we got the hats, t-shirts, we got mugs, all kind of stuff, and you show your support for the Young Lion cause. Yeah, and make sure if you're watching and you're just chilling on there, make sure you throw a comment in, join in on the conversation, because there's a lot of stuff going on, and the algorithm only notices when people comment and join in. So I didn't even get a chance to share the Facebook video, so make sure you guys are sharing this stuff. But yeah, so I know Simone, how do you feel about that game last night?
Terrible. I don't know. I've never seen a team in mid-season where they start off 10-1 and then just like fall off the cliff.
Yeah,
But
They lost hope.
I haven't watched anything, obviously. But I do remember you guys saying, like, throughout those wins, like, oh, yeah, they barely won. They barely got... Like, I heard a lot of that. So
Yeah,
every win was a nail biter that they could have lost. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
a lot of things fell in their favor to help them get a lot of those wins.
Just a lot of mistakes over and over again. They never fixed, and I think they just the coach just lost the locker room.
Yeah,
Like you can feel, they're not. You can feel when the team has chemistry, and that wasn't it for the last 7 games of the 2024 season.
yeah, and I feel like even with Jalen Hurts, I think there's something missing there.
Yeah, man, coaching has a lot to do with it. Like it seems like he regressed.
Yeah,
The play calling is like so high school vanilla. I'm like, what are y'all doing?
yeah.
It makes no sense.
But we were. It's funny because we were. Why'd you
It's
turn
like
off?
shining
Oh.
on my face. Like, crazy.
Oh, I remember last night we were having a meeting at the office, and then the snow starts coming down. I wasn't even thinking about the game, and then I'm driving home, and I'm like, oh, the game's on. And
Yeah.
I got home, turned it on, and I was just like, uh-oh.
Baker,
Didn't look good.
Baker Mayfield late in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
the worst moment of the whole game was that safety.
Oh,
That was embarrassing.
dude, what are you doing? I don't know. That just I knew it was over.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the Eagles are out. See them again next year. We're still supporters of y'all. Shout out to the Eagles, man. Might be Kelsey's last game.
Yeah, he retired.
Did he retire? He announced it.
Yeah, he retired.
Oh man, end of an era.
He was
with that guy.
emotional.
Yeah.
He was emotional that game. He knew that. He's been contemplating retirement for a few years now, but I think this sealed the deal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I still support the team. That's my it's my football team, and go Packers.
Oh, so you want
Beat
the
the
Packers
Niners.
to win now?
Beat the Niners.
Okay. So something else that was going on last night was the Iowa caucus. Did you guys hear anything about this?
Yeah.
No.
No. So the Iowa
Trump.
caucus for the Republican primary was last night.
Trump
You heard
smashed
about
it.
this? Trump landslide.
It's like 57%, right?
Yeah,
Like
it was like one of the
60%.
most historic landslides in the history of. No one was even remotely close to him.
Yeah.
But I think DeSantis came in second.
Yeah, with like 27%.
Yeah, and then it was Nikki Haley, and then Vivek
got like
actually,
8%.
He got 8%, but then he dropped out.
Yeah.
And today he was on the trail with Trump,
He-
supporting Trump.
he's supporting Trump 100%.
Yeah. But I thought this was
I think it's a smart move for him, like because he wasn't gonna,
yeah, he wasn't
Win.
ever going to win. I mean, none of them are.
Yeah.
It's going to they can't beat Trump in the primary. That's
If DeSantis, campaign team was a little, better to me, I felt like, Ron had the best chance
He had like a little window where he had a chance to make an impact.
But he's not charismatic. He doesn't.
As soon as I saw his launch of his candidacy, I was like, he ain't doing nothing.
Yeah.
Remember he did it on Twitter Spaces, and it was like this huge flop.
Yeah.
No energy. Like it didn't come across well. It kind of exposed him as like, because we only got DeSantis in like little sound bites from when he was like coming at Disney or coming at, against the COVID narrative, or like he was doing well in Florida. I think he might have been
pushed to run.
Yeah,
as like this is your time type thing, because he had some momentum with everything, but
he had a hot streak.
And I think he was being pushed by the establishment to
I think so, too.
throw some dirt against Trump, to put some pressure on Trump, you know. And then as soon as they realized that Nikki Haley had a little bit more steam, they jumped behind her right away.
But they were definitely trying to push, like when they pushed the shoe thing, when that got exposed, which is like, it's not hard to expose it.
The heels? You talking about the high heels?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was bad, man.
Yeah.
That just looked bad.
There was just a lot of bad decisions in that campaign that, I think cost him. And
there were more that came out, but I'm saying like that was one of the main ones where it's like, if you're gonna lie about that, if you're gonna be disingenuous about that, then dude, how many other things have you been disingenuous?
Right, that's the problem. And if you're gonna be that insecure as a leader, it's like, can you
about height?
Yeah, can you stand next to some of these world leaders? Yeah. It's bad enough we got...
Or maybe he isn't insecure about it. Maybe they just told him that you need to do these things.
Yeah.
But even that is like, you're so easy to be swayed.
Yeah, you're listening to your, advisor so much. What do you really... Like, if they can convince you to put on heels, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But it's better than let me see. I got something right here. Where did I put it? It's better than this right here. Let's can you pull this up, Lise, for me, please? I saw someone post this on Twitter. It was hilarious.
At White House Senior Living,
I saw this.
Our residents feel right at home. Our vibrant facility offers delightful activities and outings, round-the-clock professional care, and exquisite house-made meals.
Well, I've been eating everything that's put in front of me. I've been eating all Italian foods, basically.
And ice cream.
And ice cream, chocolate chip ice cream.
White House Senior Living, where residents feel like presidents.
Yo, why does he fit so good in that little advertisement?
Because he old as heck.
Old and just not with it.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing about being old, but like Bernie Sanders is older than him.
Yeah.
And he don't come across like that.
He's got it together, yeah.
He don't come across like, yo, this guy is, oh, okay, Pop. Okay. Get your ice cream and your pizza. What'd you have? 2 scoops? This is the guy running this country, bro.
Eating Italian food.
Yeah.
And ice cream. And chocolate chip ice cream.
Yep. And and then on top of that, after Trump wins Iowa, we had a couple meltdowns in mainstream media.
I can't stand MSNBC.
Oh, that's where I'm going with this.
I cannot stand.
That's where I'm going with this. Pull this one up for me, Lise, please. So this is Rachel Maddow's response
so
to everything.
bitter, yo.
First of all, like, you could tell that they wanted Nikki Haley to win. Like, why do all of these left-leaning organizations want Haley to win? And they're finding out that a lot of her voters were Democrats, and a lot of her donors are Democrats, which is interesting.
That's very
I think
interesting.
because she's a part of the establishment and because she's a woman.
And she's a woman, and she has said that Hillary Clinton was an inspiration for her. She did say that.
She did say that.
But let's play Rachel Maddow's reaction here.
And the big picture takeaway from that, and I don't mean to be, again, too dark, as you said, on this, but it is not if we are worried about the rise of authoritarianism in this country, we are worried about potential rise of fascism in this country, if we're worried about our democracy falling to an authoritarian and potentially fascist form of government, the leader who is trying to do that is part of that equation. But people wanting that is a much bigger part of that equation. Right. And the American electorate is made up of two major parties. One of those parties has been flirting with extremism on the ultra-right for a very long time. They've brought them in a way that they haven't been central to Republican electoral politics ever before, and I know because I've been studying this. But once you have radicalized one major party so that those are the preferences of the people who adhere to your party, the leader's interchangeable. And yes, Trumpism is sometimes what we call it. MAGA movement is probably a better way to do it. But there is an authoritarian movement inside Republican politics that isn't being bamboozled by Trump. They are pushing Trump to get more and more extreme, because the more extreme things he says, the more they adhere to him. And that is coming from a very large proportion of the American right that adheres to the Republican Party. And that's why this is a Republican Party problem more than it is the problem of one man and his leadership.
Yeah. And there's another clip where Joy Reid goes on to say how Iowa is very white and evangelical, and that's why they voted for Trump, because evangelical Christians are the worst, basically. And, you know,
it's hilarious how they're literally talking about somebody who's a fascist, right? And who's what's authoritative. What do they call it? Authoritarian. Yeah. But yeah, we got a president. You see the administration and what's happening now.
Yeah.
And how it makes no sense, but yet they're doing all these things and setting up all these laws. I don't know if people are recognizing the things they're trying to do or the things they're trying to get passed or have gotten passed. But yet, when Trump was in office, he did none of that.
Right.
He was actually giving stuff back over to the state.
Right.
Back over to the people.
Yeah, what was the fascist things that he did in office?
Just the only thing he did was say things that they twisted to sound fascist. Nothing, he didn't do anything.
You guys see that clip on The View of Whoopi Goldberg saying that, like, if you vote for this guy, he's going to put y'all in camps?
Yeah.
Recently?
Yeah.
She said this?
Like, she said this last week.
Wow. Did he do that last time?
They said that last time.
But did he do it?
Of course not. I mean, it's a ridiculous statement.
Real quick, shout out to Jess, Brendan. Let me see. Mom. Hey, Mom. Mom's homesick.
Yeah, Mom said hi, Lisi.
But yeah, I don't know if people are noticing what they're doing in Canada.
Yeah.
And that's far left. And they're literally taking things away. The health care. You know, they're censoring social media like crazy over there.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Where they can't, even on Netflix, or they can't watch certain things. They can't listen to certain podcasts over there.
Yeah, it's starting to sound like China.
Yeah.
China.
They're supposed to be releasing some new TOS on Google. I was hearing about where they're using this term, and you know how we always say, watch out for new terminology, new language. It was like sensitive events or something like that. Like they're saying they're going to be censoring things if they pertain to sensitive events, and like banning these things, blocking these things. And you could tell, you know, they're looking at anything in the future that they consider a sensitive event. They can basically control the narrative around that.
Again,
like they did.
All these things you can't objectively judge.
Yeah.
They're all subjective judgments. And that's what makes it so dangerous. Because you can change it to mean any sensitive. Well, what does that mean? Anything that people feel sensitive about.
Yep.
There's going to be anything on, you know, if it's one side, you're going to have an opinion. So there's going to be people sensitive about anything, any subject, right? But it only matters when it's one side where it's sensitive.
Yeah.
You know, that's when they're going to censor.
Yep. and they get to control what they consider sensitive.
Yeah.
You know, another thing that I saw was, speaking of censoring, was after. Now think about it. This is the Republican frontrunner, the guy who just won the Iowa caucus by a landslide, was going to give his victory speech, and this was MSNBC afterwards.
I'm sorry, I just have to do a little bit of business just for a second. At this point in the evening, the projected winner of the Iowa caucuses has just started giving his victory speech. We will keep an eye on that as it happens. We will let you know if there's any news made in that speech, if there's anything noteworthy, something substantive and important. The reason I'm saying this is, of course, there is a reason that we and other news organizations have generally stopped giving an unfiltered live platform to remarks by former President Trump. It is not out of spite. It is not a decision that we relish. It is a decision that we regularly revisit. And honestly, earnestly, it is not an easy decision, but there is a cost to us as a news organization of knowingly broadcasting untrue things. That is a fundamental truth of
Untrue thing.
Knowingly broadcasting
the whole entire thing of what he's saying. Oh, that means we don't have the power to cut a clip, you know, and just run with that and make a narrative that we want, you know. It's
they don't want to.
If people can't see through that, dude, it's so bad.
Right,
it's so bad.
The fact they can't even show it now, like, it's getting worse and worse.
That's what I'm saying.
And then
it's moving in that direction.
Yeah, and then to say, like, when you say untrue, you can't just say these things.
Yeah,
what's untrue?
Yeah,
like
what is that? Where are the lies at?
But the issue is, if people are listening to this and they're feeding into it, which we know by their ratings, not many.
Yeah.
But the people who are, bro, it's sad because they're just taking what they're saying as truth.
Yep.
And that's what's so sad about this country now. Like, nobody even thinks a little critically to say, well, who's behind them? Why would they say these things?
Yeah.
Can I trust what they're saying? Yeah. Like, to look further than, oh, well, that's the news, and I guess the news is
they have an obligation to be factual and tell the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Especially her, like, she's literally emotional about everything.
Yeah.
So emotional.
Remember when she lied and said she had his tax records?
Yep.
And she thought she got him, and then as she's reading through it, you see the look on her face when she realizes it's nothing. Like,
how do you go on air and read that before you actually read it?
Because someone told her. These people don't do real journalism.
That's my point.
She's just a face.
That's my point. Like, how are you going on air so confident and yet you didn't vet the thing?
Yeah. Because someone just told you, like, oh, we have him.
Yo, you hate this man so much. Just because he hurts your feelings because of the stuff he says.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. So this was the clip of today, Ramaswamy on the campaign with Trump. Hold up. Now I don't want to play.
Trump was what's the word? Gracious?
Yeah.
Gracious winner?
Yo, you know what's funny? If you watch his speech, it was nothing in there really divisive. He was talking about the country coming together.
Yeah.
Like,
he talked about how good Ron did and Nikki and Vivek is, he came out of nowhere. He did a good job.
To be honest with you, like, I hope that we can see now, like, Trump is not going to save you.
Yeah.
If you think, like, all the people that were, like, thinking Trump was a type of savior.
Dude,
what?
Yeah. Huh?
What are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing because it just makes me think of all of those people that were just like, how you kept hearing these stories about, oh no, Trump's the real president right now. The army's behind him. You don't understand. Biden's about to get taken out of office. Yeah. Like, it just makes you laugh. Like,
Lisa Sloan, James, Courtney. What's up, guys?
Hey, guys. Make sure you guys share the video and like the video. Write some comments in there.
What's up, Courtney? What's up, troll?
Yeah, but I think we need to, like...
Why are you calling her a troll? She was trolling you about the Eagles?
Yeah.
She can't talk crap with them Cowboys. Ain't she a Cowboys fan?
She texted me early, and then, she posts something on
Did you ask her how the Cowboys did?
No, she know how the Cowboys.
That's what
did.
I'm saying. Like, you don't have no room to troll. Please. They did what they always do. No, but shout out to Courtney though, one of our Patreon members. We love you, and our sister. We love you. But yeah, this is Vivek on the stage with Trump.
Tremendous ideas, and he's young, and he's got some young ideas too, and that's a good thing. So he has a big, beautiful, bright future ahead. Vivek Ramaswamy.
Vivek Ramaswamy. Look at this imagery right here. Donald Trump and this young Indian guy.
Right.
Let's do this, guys. It's good to see you. It's good to be back to New Hampshire. We miss you guys. We're going to make this happen, and you guys know this well. You know this man. You know why we're here, patriots across the state. We are in the middle of a war in this country. That's what this is. It's not a war between black and white. It's not between Democrat and Republican, even in a deeper sense. It's between the permanent state and the everyday citizen. Between those of us who love the United States of America and a fringe minority who hates this country and what we stand for. And right now we need a commander-in-chief who will lead us to victory in this war. That's what we need in this country. You got to know you're in a war to win one. You can't win one if you're asleep at the switch, have your head stuck in the sand like most Republicans. And I think that's going to require somebody who isn't bought and paid for, a businessman, not a politician. Anybody heard of that? And that's why I was in this race, but I'll tell you, the people of Iowa spoke loud and clear last night, and I'm a big believer that we, the people, create a government that is accountable to us, not the other way around. That we, the people, choose who leads this country. And so we heard we, the people, last night, and that is why last evening I met my friend here, we met in person, and I told him that I would endorse Donald J. Trump for President of the United States and do everything in my power to lead us to victory in this war. It is a 1776 moment right now.
He's good, man.
He's
good. He's good. Almost a little too good.
Right?
That's why a lot of people, that's why it's hard to like fully trust Vivek all the time. Like he's good, man. He says all the right things, and he's very like he hits the points. Mm-hmm. Like he said, it's not about black and white, it's not about Republican or Democrat. Right now we're fighting against the establishment. Mm-hmm. We're fighting against the elite class, the bloated government that wants to keep pushing their authoritarian rule over us as the citizens. They want to constantly give us reasons to give up our rights. Yeah. And we keep accepting it and keep doing it for the comforts and conveniences of everyday life that we don't want to lose. Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah. They use fear to get us to...
Fear and desire.
Give them more... We give our power to them through fear. Mm-hmm. Fear, desire, all of these things.
That's how the government got, control of every little thing. We talked about that on here.
Yep.
9/11.
Yeah.
Giving up income tax.
Yeah. Yep.
It's only supposed to be, for...
Temporary.
It's only for a little bit.
That was for World War I, right?
1 or 2. Jake, I don't know.
When they came up with the income tax, I think it was World War I.
Yeah.
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But that never left.
Yeah. Hey, look, we still got to take our shoes off at the airport. That was supposed to be temporary too.
We still don't even know why.
Well, I got pre-check, bro.
World War I was really a thing.
Yeah, where did that come from?
Dude, they try to say it started because of like an assassination, I think, in like the Czech Republic or something, right?
Yeah.
Just weird.
Yeah. Yep. But look at what we're going into now globally.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about World War III. We got all of these things popping off all over the world right now. We just had...
Didn't we start another war? Aren't we on the third one now?
Yeah, there's a bunch going on. Didn't they just bomb Yemen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Y'all was worried about, Trump.
Yeah.
And
they said Trump's
that
gonna,
button.
They kept
that
saying
nuclear button.
They kept saying Trump's going to get us into World War III. Trump's going to, have people deported. He's going to put people in camps. He's going to get have all the gay people killed. Remember, like
we weren't in any wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of it has to do with the feminization of this country. Like, because it's when you're feminized, nobody wants to step up.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to humble themselves and sacrifice.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking at, what are you going to do for me? How are you going to fix this for me? Right.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And then they're using all of these weird, when you look at the World Economic Forum and all the things that they're doing, they're using all of these things to create a new world order, not to use the conspiratorial terms, but that's what they call it, where we
Well, that's what you sound like, James.
you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. I mean, right now, I'll go into this next story right there. So right now they're actually meeting in Davos because of this Disease X. Have you guys heard about this?
Disease X.
Yeah, let me pull this up for me, please. This is from The Independent right here. World leaders to meet to discuss threat of hypothetical Disease X pandemic in Davos. Disease X is ranked as a priority for awareness campaigning by the WHO alongside COVID-19, Ebola, Zika, and the Zika virus. So apparently this Disease X virus it's like 100% deadly or something like that.
But it says hypothetical.
Right.
So,
but it's something that they've tested in lab rats, humanized rats, I believe. I was reading up on it a little bit. They were testing it in humanized rats or mice, and it had 100% kill rate on all of them. And it was something about it attacking the brain. So they're already discussing like how to handle this pandemic. You remember what happened the last time they were discussing how to handle a pandemic? A couple months later, we're dealing with a pandemic. Here goes recently added back on Twitter, and he's been, doing his thing again. The great Alex Jones. I know he's, he's got a stigma for being just a conspiracy theorist, but he's talking about it here.
You won't be able to have certain redoubts of it and certain city-states that still have it, the Hunger Games model. It will destroy the elite as well. And anybody that studies history and has common sense knows that. The wars that are going to come out of the starvation and the inflation are being blamed on global warming. The viruses that come out of the labs are being blamed on global warming. The third world hordes being organized by the UN to invade are being blamed on global warming. The mass starvation is blamed on the virus. And everywhere we're told, it's going to get worse. Billions are coming. Al Gore and Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and the Rothschilds and Davos Group and Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab and Yuval Noah Harari say billions are coming to Europe. 1 billion are coming to the U.S. because of climate change. No, because you cut their economy off because the IMF and World Bank controls the loans and ordered lockdowns.
Uh-oh. I don't know what happened to the video. Hold on.
Let's go ahead and go to this report with him breaking it down. Here it is.
Okay.
Now, I want to talk now about Disease X.
Here we go.
Which is on this website here. This is the World Economic Forum site as far as I can derive. Disease X, this is how we should prepare for the next big virus. Wow. So this, you can listen to it here or you can read it there. It's all very easy to understand while being rather difficult to understand. Now, Disease X, I've been teaching this sort of thing pretty well full time since 1990. I know I've been a clinical nurse since 1975 when I was a first year student. And I'd never heard of this Disease X. So I looked at some of my books. Because when I wrote my book, I couldn't remember putting it in. So it wasn't in there, but I could easily miss it, couldn't I? So I did check in Rubin's Pathology. These are the definitive texts. Couldn't see it in there either. So I checked in Guyton and Hall, superb physiology book. Not in there either. Porth's Pathophysiology. Not in there either. It's fairly thick. You think it could be in there somewhere. You get the idea. Not in that one. Can hardly pick this one up. Pathophysiology. All these standard textbooks. Not in there. So it must be a new disease. Can't say I like the sound of a new disease. We've had a new disease already, haven't we? Anyway, this is just, I want to give you some highlights from the Radio Davos talk. Disease X is looming. The world needs to be better prepared to tackle a future pandemic. And you'll see here that the text is from the World Economic Forum site. They go on to say, by mapping viruses with the potential to become the next disease X, the global health community and governments, governments can be more responsive the next time a pandemic looms. Looks like they're anticipating another pandemic here. Global collaboration and adequate funding are needed to improve pandemic preparedness and ensure fast action to keep a viral outbreak at bay. It says you can get a long way being able to produce something. Not quite sure what's being produced, but you can produce something or other that will target a novel virus before that virus even emerges. I assume here they're referring to repurposed drugs, which could be rolled out very quickly and very cheaply, and may be efficacious against a range of conditions. Maybe that's what they mean. But anyway, they're going to produce something. Can't read too much into that. All they say is something. Could even mean a vaccine. I don't know, whatever they mean there. Anyway, that will target a novel virus before that virus even emerges. It's a virus we don't know yet, but we do know it's out there. Do we? But we do know it's out there. Now, unfortunately, much to my annoyance and your annoyance, I felt compelled to delete yesterday's video. My apologies. The trick is to live to fight another day. That's what we aim for. But the video I was doing yesterday was examining a particular virus that was experimentally used to infect mice, caused a disease of the brain. And at the end of the study, none of the mice at the end of the study were alive anymore. None of them were alive anymore because a certain event had happened to them that made them not alive. And that virus, my understanding from reading of the paper, was it evolved in cell cultures in a laboratory. So as a result of going through cell cultures in a laboratory, the function of the virus had been increased. It would appear it became a more functional virus.
Gain of function.
There was function. And there was potentially...
why are they always messing with stuff,
increase.
Man?
Maybe even a gain.
Seems dark. Why are they doing it?
Anyway, but we know it's out there. So they know it's out there. Obviously, they don't know a precise geographical location, but they know it's out there. And we know it has the potential to spill over from animal populations potentially into humans. Well, yeah, there can be natural spillover events, of course. There can also be other origins of viruses. Perhaps mutate or adapt itself and then begin spreading and killing people faster than we can contain it. Carrying out research and vaccine development. Carrying out research and vaccine development for known viral families could impact humans, of which there are 25 viral families, they're saying, would give humanity a decided advantage over the next disease, X. So who knows, maybe the World Economic Forum will be good enough to develop a vaccine for us great unwashed, so it's all ready for us. I'll leave it with you. Read the article for yourself. It's all there.
So, yeah, you get the point. I mean, the guy is very long-winded with it, but it's basically a lab-created disease that killed 100% of the mice, and they believe it's out there in the world. You know, now how did it get out there in the world? You know, That story is yet to be told.
If it's created in the lab,
right? Kind of like, well, maybe it's another wet market, like we were told about COVID-19 for the longest, right? Before that became, I mean, how long were we talking about that? That made no sense. A couple years before they actually even started letting you say that.
Why are they creating this in the lab?
That's a real good question. I mean, I can speculate on how they want to reduce the population in a lot of ways.
Jeez.
One thing I saw is that we need to be prepared. And then that's the preparation. Now they tell you, you know, their preparation and how that's the lead in, right? Like that's the kind of bait. Like they make you fearful and then they give you the lead in. And it just made me think of like Ephesians 6 where it says, shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. And peace is key, right? And then even in Philippians 4, I want to read this real quick because it kind of ties into that. And I read this all the time because it's such a key. As Philippians 4:6, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus.
Yeah.
So I think, like, again, shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. We're learning how to settle ourselves before God and not be anxious to where we're trying to solve things ourselves or we're jumping to conclusions, you know, and because that's the anxiety that's going to actually kill us, you know. But if we set ourselves in the peace of God, and that's something that we have to practice. It's not something that we can just do. We have to practice that.
Yeah.
As we're confronted with these things, as fear hits us, you feel fear, but just because you feel it doesn't mean that you can let it overtake you. So practicing recognizing those feelings, you know, and giving that to God, you know, that's something that I think is key in winning this war, because I believe it's a war.
Yeah.
That's just like they were talking about, you know, with Vamaswamy. It's a war.
Yeah.
You see, it's a psychological war we're under right now. You know, they're trying to put fear in you, and we saw that with the vaccines. You know how and COVID-19. Yeah, that whole push.
And not to you give Alex Jones any props, but that term InfoWars, it's an informational war as well. We've seen that.
Yeah.
So that's another front that we've been fighting that war for a long time. Whereas, I mean, you look at Project Mockingbird and all that stuff, like they knew that information was going to be important. When you look at the way they used to drop pamphlets, propaganda pamphlets back in the day over countries. They used to misdirect with radio, with magazines, with ads. Like there's always been an information war on the people to keep people oppressed with information.
And so to draw conclusions, but also to try to bring about solutions. Yeah. Like this is the problem because they're like, because they hit you with it and then they're like, okay, here's how we solve it. You know what I mean? They give you everything. Yeah. Like they give you the information that is the problem, and then they give you the information that's the solution.
Right. Make your life so unbearable that it's like, well, the only way to get back to normal is you take this experimental vaccine, guys. You know.
That was in that movie. Did you watch that?
Which one?
The Obama's movie.
Oh yeah,
where they dropped flyers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. They did put that in there.
It was what was on there? Something Muslim, right?
Yeah,
it was like
they had some Islamic writing on there.
Yeah, but then they said somebody else said in another place.
So they were trying to confuse people. Yeah. To show them who the enemy was. So staying along those lines, here's another story.
Shout out to Emma.
Emma, what's up, brother?
He said greetings, guys.
Another Patreon member. We appreciate you. Theris, what's up, sis? Another one of our Pride members right there. Check out this news clip about a new measles that they just found.
Health officials in Virginia are warning travelers at Dulles and Reagan airports that they may have been exposed to highly contagious measles. The Virginia Department of Health says the warning is linked to an international traveler who was at the international arrivals at Dulles Airport between 4 and 8 o'clock on Wednesday, January the 3rd, then at Terminal A at Reagan Airport the following day between 2:30 and 6:30 in the afternoon. They added the virus can stay in the air as long as 2 hours after the presence of an infected person, and for those who step foot in the airports to watch for symptoms until January the 21st.
So a measles virus can stay in the air?
I didn't know that.
A new, more contagious measles virus.
2 hours.
And I was thinking too, like, could this have been, because we get measles vaccines when we're kids. Could this have been one of the migrants that they've been flying around everywhere?
I don't know.
I mean, it seems likely to me. They've been giving them plane rides all over the country for free.
Yeah, everything for free, you know?
Yeah.
California just announced, I think did we talk about that? Giving free health insurance to...
Yeah, we talked about that.
To migrants.
We didn't talk about how they're also giving out free sex changes too.
California.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, California is giving out
at the expense of all you guys.
Yeah,
you know.
Here, matter of fact, pull this up right here. This is from the Post Millennial. Gavin Newsom, California to provide free sex changes for illegal immigrants. The state memo regarding Medi-Cal stipulated that gender affirming care is a covered benefit only when medically necessary.
Okay.
Yes.
Can't clean up the poop unless you know, Papa comes home.
Another, what's his name?
Gavin.
For illegal immigrants.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What the?
For illegal immigrants.
Dude. Oh wow.
Yeah.
But also, what did you say? Only if what?
Only if medically necessary.
Which is a subjective.
Yeah.
How is that objective in any way?
Because they could just say they're for their mental state.
Right.
You know, I'm suicidal. All right, so I want to get another shot at McDonald's right here, guys. I saw this on TikTok, and I thought this was this is on Twitter. I thought this was very interesting. So this guy is pouring molten lava on a Big Mac. Watch what happens.
Who still eats this stuff, like for real?
He just took the bun off, like, forget it.
Dang, that thing's got a Star Wars force field. You know those robots?
Yo. And now, tell me if you poured that on your skin, it wouldn't just melt right off.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
A lot of preservatives in that.
Yeah, you can preserve through fire.
Yo. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, y'all make
the fire don't want it. The mold don't want it.
They don't want to eat. Nothing wants to eat it. Mold won't eat it. Yeah, bacteria don't want it. But we put it in our stomachs.
I did love the Big Macs though. Not gonna lie,
bro.
I
every time we
Macs.
post one of these videos, all the comments be like, "Man, I want one right now." Now after watching that, like, they don't care.
You can make it healthier at home. You can make it your own burger,
and it's better.
Yeah, you can make it way better.
My own Big Macs, Quarter Pounders, Whoppers at home is so much better.
Yeah.
Dude, I haven't had a Big Mac, McDonald's. I haven't had it in years. Like, I can't remember the last time I went to McDonald's.
Good. You shouldn't. No one should.
Yeah.
I like making my own smash burgers at home. To me, those are the best burgers.
It is. It's always better.
Good smash burger, like right on the skillet.
Yep.
Juicy. But yeah, so McDonald's again. And then we're still getting Cat Williams comments on our YouTube clip, bro. Everybody is watching that clip and talking about Cat Williams.
He done went viral, man. There's memes.
Yeah, but now it's funny because then they're finding the clip of him talking about what our clip talks about. And I guess I suggests our clip next after they see his clip. So that now they're seeing our McDonald's video. That's the one that went super viral on Facebook, 8 million views, but it really wasn't doing nothing on YouTube.
Yeah.
So ever since the Cat Williams thing, it's been picking up and getting all these
Hey, keep on
comments.
watching it.
Yeah, it's funny.
Keep on watching it.
Yeah, but that Big Mac stuff was crazy. What else? Oh, update on the tunnels in Brooklyn. So you guys, I think I said this to you guys. Did you guys see that they hired a bunch of migrants to dig the tunnels out?
Who's they?
The
New York City?
No, the extremist Jew teens that were building those tunnels.
No.
You mean illegal immigrants?
Yeah. They hired migrants to dig secret Brooklyn synagogue tunnels, Shawshank style. This is from the New York Post. This is the article that they wrote right here.
So that's how it came? They hired...
So apparently, like, they started to do the job themselves and realized it was way too much labor, way too much work. So then they hired migrants.
But why?
We still don't know why. We still don't know why.
They still don't know why?
I've heard all of these like theories as to what they were doing with these tunnels. None of it sounds like it makes sense. I think there's some weird stuff going on in them tunnels. I don't know. Because all the like mattresses and baby stuff down there.
Soiled mattresses.
And then it like led to a woman's like ritual massage place or something like that, or bathhouse or something.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Wait, that's true or is that a rumor?
No, that's true. That's true.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it says they extremist
They meant
students
when they talked about the synagogue of Satan.
Hey, listen. You don't know what some of these people are getting up to. I think it is weird when you see people with like these, they still hold on to these weird ritualistic like dress and stuff. You know what I mean? Like the way they all dress the same. What is the significance of that? And
yeah, like
you talking about the acidic
yeah,
shoes?
yeah. And then like the way they do, are they the ones that do the curls?
Yeah. I mean, some of it is biblical, and then some of it isn't.
Yeah. So it says 6 renegade members of the. So you see how they frame it as they were renegades to show that they're not a part of this. Secretly began digging 3-foot high, 20-foot wide, 50-foot long tunnels themselves using crude instruments and their hands. They stuffed the dirt into their pockets so that their work wouldn't be detected by the sex leaders and wider community, a source in the Orthodox community told the Post. Did you see them tunnels?
Yeah.
That would take 100 years to dig with your hands and put it in your pockets to sneak the dirt out.
Yeah, that don't sound right.
Yeah, it's weird. Just weird.
Later, the men, most of them in their teens and early 20s, took up a collection and hired a group of migrant laborers to finish the job. Carhold said, describing the workers as Mexicans. Like, look at this tunnel right here. Come on, bro.
Yeah, you're not digging that and putting it in your pocket.
With your hands.
Come on. You need trash cans.
Yeah.
We did it with the studio. Yeah, that was tough.
That just breaking them walls down. Because you're talking about digging it out from underground, then bringing it upstairs, and then taking it out, and no one noticing where all this dirt is going. It just like that type of excavation job.
Yeah.
How is that possible? I don't know, man. Such a weird story. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to show that update that we saw.
I want to go investigate it because I really want to know. Like, what?
All right, I got a couple more things, and we'll get into your stuff, Jake. So, did you guys see the city of Phoenix did a no pants day on their train?
Oh no!
Yeah, pull this up.
Why?
Please.
Why?
I don't know. So, your guide to the Phoenix No Pants Light Rail Ride 2024 on Sunday, revealing everything to know about the return of Metro Phoenix infamous Pants Free event, January 11th, 2024. So, clearly it's connected to Gay Pride. So, I guess if you're LGBTQ, you don't want to wear pants. So in order to honor
Isn't that
them,
like dirty and unsanitary?
and it's obscene and it's sexual in nature, and there's children around. Like, you just want to be not wearing pants. Like, look at this dude on the train in front of look at the little girl right here.
Oh my! Don't look at it. Don't look at it.
Look at this guy. Like, what does that have to do with
anything?
Yeah, like
anything.
We just want to be treated like you. We can't walk around like that in public. We just want to be treated like everyone else. Like, that's when it goes too far. Like, look, what is that? Yo, tell me that little boy's not holding what I think. Let me move on. Like, yeah. So they're just all riding the train with no pants. Yeah. Phoenix, Arizona. What are y'all doing?
It's nasty.
I wanted to show this clip real quick about chemotherapy for all of those people that this is a sad thing because so many people go through this, and it's one of them things that's been proven to not do anything. So this is the guy breaking it down.
Isn't she going through it?
Is she going through that right now?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yo, let's watch this.
Sugar is your primary fuel for cancer because cancer is a fermentation system driven with sugar. So why did they give Otto Warburg the Nobel Prize and then promptly forgot about all of that and then just reverted to chemotherapy and radiation, two treatments we know don't cure cancer? So what we have here is no cure going on in disease. We have disease management and symptoms maintenance. And by the way, that's where the money is. Money is not in dead people. It's not in the healthy people. It's in the people in the middle who can be persuaded that they've got a chronic condition that's going to need treatment for the rest of their life. Sugar is...
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things, I think, in the body that create cancerous cells.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, this idea that we're just going to attack it with radiation and chemotherapy, it's proven to be does more harm than good. Like...
Yeah, but the thing is, it's so hard because that's what they tell you.
Yeah.
When you go to the doctor.
Yeah.
This is what they have a procedure, and this is it. So
because that's what they brought up in. This is how you treat that thing.
But that's what makes it so hard for people. Like, do you not listen to the doctors?
I mean, that's the hard part. Sometimes you got to do your own research. Like, how many times do doctors get things wrong?
Yeah.
How many times do doctors misdiagnose things? How many stories have you seen of people that were being treated for one thing and that whatever the treatment is was killing them even worse because they misdiagnosed them, and it took them to go to like 8 different doctors before they finally found out what was actually wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, doctors at the end of the day are not gods. No. They're practicing medicine. They're going through procedures and a list of things that they've learned in school, which we already know that the medical school system was already hijacked by the Rockefeller Foundation when they were funding all of the schools to change the curriculum from holistic healing into pharmaceuticals, using his donor money, because who was going to benefit from that? They were using petroleum for all of the pharmaceutical drugs at the time. So he ends up enriching himself by funding these schools to then rely on his pharmaceutical, products to change the whole curriculum. So now that everything that they're being taught is to rely on pharmaceuticals. Because before that, most doctors were practicing more holistic medicines.
Yeah, which a lot of times destroys the body. I know there was so much stuff coming out about how much harm a lot of antibiotics do to the body that's irreversible for a lot of people.
What just happened? I went like this. I was like, what happened to Cameron? What were you saying?
No, I was saying that a lot of antibiotics that they just give at a whim are actually really harmful.
Yeah.
And some of it has irreversible damage that it can do to the body, and they think there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
And how much it destroys our microbiome and
I know antibiotics destroy your microbiome. But I mean, you can't. There is a give and take with that because I know antibiotics have saved lives in a lot of
Well,
instances.
that's what I'm saying. It's not all antibiotics, but there's certain ones that are really bad.
Yeah,
that they give like it's nothing. Like some of these should only be given if it's like life or death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but they're giving them like for like common cold,
like Oxy.
Yeah,
you know, like they gave Oxy and like it was nothing.
Like it was
and
nothing.
it caused this crazy thing that we're seeing now. You know.
Well, what about all the things they used to do in medicine that were actually killing us that they later find out is not good for you? You know what I mean? Like there were so many procedures, lobotomies, bloodletting, like all these things that they used to do.
That's why it's called practicing.
Right. Like to say that we have a full grasp and understanding on the biology of the human body is a lie. Like they're still learning things all the time. That's how we're learning more things with diet. They used to say, doctors used to come out and say smoking cigarettes cured cancer.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they just said, they just talked about these vaccines. Like they were amazing and you need to take them, and they're trying to force everybody to take them. Actually, I had a clip about one of those.
Okay. I'm going to show that, but let me show this real quick just because it's along the same line. So pull this up, at least for me, please.
You look at obstetrics for the last 50 years, what do you find? In the 1930s, they were giving x-rays on every pregnant woman to measure her pelvis. And then in the 1940s, they discovered that caused the baby to have cancer. So they had to stop it. And then in the 1950s and 60s, they had another drug called thalidomide, which caused babies to be born without arms and legs. And then they had to stop that. But you see, in every case, it was after the fact. In the 1990s, they were giving Cytotec to induce labor in women who had had a previous cesarean. And they ended up with hundreds and hundreds of ruptured uteruses and many, many, many dead babies before they found out, finally, in 1999, that they shouldn't do that. But you see, there's not a good history in obstetric practice of careful study of the long-term effects of all these interventions. This is why, if you really want a humanized birth, the best thing to do is to get the hell out of the hospital.
Yeah, like so many things that you don't realize we've learned along the way that we were doing in practice of medicine that was harming people, harming babies, harming the elderly. All right, let me pull up that clip you were talking about. Let me see if I can find it. Which one?
With
Megan Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Mm-hmm. I am not a robot, Instagram. It's asking me to confirm that I'm not a robot. And now okay.
Megan Kelly looks super skinny nowadays.
Looks like she might be on some Ozempic.
Though,
you know how all these people are taking Ozempic to lose weight? All these celebrities.
I didn't know that.
You didn't hear about that? Wasn't it like a diabetes medicine that they realized suppresses your hunger?
Yeah.
So now all these celebrities are taking it, and that's how like Kim Kardashian and all these people are getting super skinny.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know Kim Kardashian.
It destroys your muscle.
And your bone density.
Your muscle density, and your bone.
And they don't even know what long-term effects it's going to have on people because it's such a new drug.
Right.
Like everybody is taking this drug, Ozempic, and losing all this weight, but we have no idea what the long-term effects of this, just like what we're talking about. But let's watch Megan Kelly.
Well, I'm a 52-year-old woman because I don't think I needed it. I think I would have been fine. I got COVID many times, and it was well past when the vaccine was doing what it was supposed to be doing. And then for the first time, I tested positive for an autoimmune issue at my annual physical. And I went to the best rheumatologist in New York, and I asked her, do you think this could have to do with the fact that I got the damn booster and then got COVID within 3 weeks? And she said, yes. Yes, I wasn't the only one she'd seen that. I regret getting the vaccine, even though I'm a...
So she developed an autoimmune disorder after getting the vaccine.
Yeah, man.
Wow. Doesn't have nothing to do with mRNA being injected into you. Didn't somebody send something where we were just showing that like the mRNA it is I think I saw this on Twitter, but I didn't save this video. They were showing that the mRNA is introducing new DNA into your system.
Yeah, I think wasn't Stan that sent that?
Stan did send that. Shout out to Stan, man. He's not here right now. Stan and James, the other young lions on the panel.
Yeah, they talked about that a while ago, though.
But the fact that it could actually like alter your physiology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, that's why that the Surgeon General, is that the title from Florida?
Yeah.
He came out publicly against the vaccine.
Yeah, he actually recommended not using them anymore, which they are not going to listen to that. Mom said they use chemo as fear tactic. Courtney said, "Glad I moved from Phoenix," right? Yeah. Let me see. Where else was we? Where were we at?
You're about to get into the videos.
Yes, but I'm just making sure I got all this stuff out the way. Yeah, I think so. Okay. All right, so let's get into these videos you got, Jake. So kind of break down where this is starting and where we're headed.
Lisa, hold on. Lisa Sloan said, "It caused me not to walk."
You talking about the vaccine, Lisa? Let us know. So you got this. This is from a podcast, I'm assuming, Jake?
Yeah, it's a debate. And it's basically how women have no rights without men. But it goes into it and kind of explains it in a way where it breaks it down a little bit so people can understand it, where he's coming from.
Okay. Let's check it out.
You'll ever make in your entire life. All of your rights are based on enforcement unless you can give me a basis for them outside of that.
That just can't be the case, because the notion of rights wouldn't need to exist. We wouldn't need to establish rights for people if each person could physically enforce it themselves. The whole point of establishing baseline of rights is because you're assuming people are fundamentally different physically and intellectually. So how can you say your rights don't matter because you're physically inferior when that differentiation is what justifies your rights in the first place? That's why we even establish rights.
You haven't justified rights at all. You just say this is what justifies them, the fact that there's inferiority between different people. Okay, is that the justification? That the justification for rights is based on inferiority? Is that what you're saying is your justification for a right?
It's a differences.
The differences is the justification?
If each person was as intellectually and physically capable as the person next to them, I don't think we would need to establish human rights.
Okay, so
probably.
So you think that rights then come from your mind? They don't come from any external source, just people make them up.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if absent something for you to ground this axiom on, unless that's all it is, just like a pure axiom to your own preferences, you'd have to tell me what you're justifying having a right on, where it comes from. Where does a right actually come from? Other than your mind, you made it up. If that's the case, then you have a big problem. So did it come out of the people's minds, or does it come external? Did they come from God, like our founders said, or where do they come from?
I'm asking you, where do rights come from for you? Because I'm saying,
God.
I think rights. What?
I think that well, as far as innate human rights, the way that you perceive them, we don't perceive them the same way. But I would say that I ground all of my epistemology and ontology on my faith. So all the things that I think are informed by faith and would be informed by God. But from your perspective, your secular perspective, you're just saying that rights are just something that people made up one day. And then you say, but enforcement isn't necessary, which is really bizarre and makes no sense. And I'm trying to get you to square it.
Necessary. I said enforcement is crucial to rights.
Then rights come from men. So if enforcement is crucial to them, men are the enforcers of those rights, not women. So therefore, you're basically begging men for rights.
What the majority establishes is those rights. But I'm saying just because your rights can be taken away, how does that make the basis of equality laughable?
Because it means that you would always be appealing to people who can take your rights away as being equal with you when you can't take theirs away.
You can take them away, but does that mean it's justified?
Nope, you can't take them away. Men can take them away, but not women. Women can't take men's rights away, not monolithically.
If a majority of voters decide to change the basis of rights, again, they can take it away from the minority of senior citizens.
Well, first of all, we're not in a democracy. We're in a republic, and it takes more than a simple majority, of which women do outnumber men, but it's only slightly so. They would still need even men in that coalition to do so. So women, as a singular entity, can't do anything outside of voting. But even with voting, they would need men. But absent voting, they certainly can't enforce their rights, whereas men can enforce their rights even absent voting. So if we don't like what's going on at the ballot box or in the nation or in the country, we can physically do something about that. We can change the regime. We can change the president. We can change whatever the fuck we want. And society basically just has to deal with it. There's nothing that they can do about it. They're at the mercy of men. So men are at the mercy of men and women are at the mercy of men. But all of them are appealing to men for rights.
Okay, so you said you're a Christian, right? So you believe in a theological basis for rights. So what do you see as rights then, since you have a more objective understanding of them? Since mine's secular.
I don't think that we have innate rights the way that you think that we have innate rights. I think that we have an obligation and duties to follow certain virtues, and that those virtues might oftentimes run contrary to what you might consider an innate human right, of which I don't consider an innate human right. So examples of this might be, I don't know, discrimination, let's say, against transgender people using the bathroom or something like this. I don't consider that to be virtuous, and so I would be against such a thing, even though a person like you might say, well, wait a second, this is a fundamental human right or something like this. The difference is that all of my positions on that are informed, and I'm basing all of it, grounding all of it on the Bible and on God. You're grounding all of everything you believe is a right just basically out of your own brain, what you think subjectively is a right and what isn't.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Makes complete sense.
Yeah.
I mean, except for the fact that he's sitting there smoking a cigarette while he's
and cursing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Debating all of this while he's literally destroying his own body, but says, talking about God.
Yeah. But I mean, what he's saying is true. You
Yeah.
can't deny
Right.
what he's saying is true.
Right. I always say that too. I'm like, women that think that they have an obligation to equal rights to men only can even exist in that framework through a society that men have established and set up so that they are protected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if you take that same woman and put her in anarchic type of society,
you could just say a very unjust society, right?
or just like imagine they're in a plane crash and they're all stranded on a desert island, and there's no one to enforce the rights of women.
Yeah.
The women are at the mercy of those men that are stranded with them.
Yeah.
Because physically, that's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Like I've heard him talk before. He's pretty much a regular on whatever podcast.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's been on there a few times. But
isn't his show called The Crucible?
I don't know.
I'm not
I think
sure.
it is, which is interesting.
I've heard this guy before, but
but he makes that point a lot about how physically, if there weren't men to lay down the law or whatever the law of the land is or whatever like that, and men protect that, and the women living in that is being protected.
Yeah.
And you can only speak because you're in that society, just like you said.
Yeah.
But if you're in a plane crash, you crash and then there's no society, the women physically can't overpower the men.
Right.
Right. You're at the mercy of the men. But I will say that's why we need people to, like, when you're a believer.
Yeah.
And that's what he's saying. Where do you get your rights from?
Yes.
Like, you don't just, you think you get your rights out of your brain.
Mhm.
But no, you got there. Like the fact that you progress, like the progressive idea or ideology thinks that it's creating its own thing, but it's not. You're progressing from a point.
Yeah.
Right? You went from a place where it's actually privilege, right? Because even like the whole Enlightenment thing came from mostly French philosophers, but they were the elite, right?
Yeah.
Because they were in a privileged place.
Even Darwin was from like a rich ass family.
Yeah.
He was like the loser child that had nothing to do but come up with this whole philosophy on, you
Right.
know.
But in order for you to do that, like for you to think in that way and to be able to think in that way, you were given that realm to think in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're all human beings. Like, in terms of, we're equally human.
Yeah.
But we're not equal in terms of the realm of humanity, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and you could say like men are equally men, but we're not all equal in the realm of men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't like people don't think in that way, so you can't separate that. You have to look at in the realm of humanity, there's not equality.
Right.
We are equally human, but there's different levels of or I would say not levels, but like rankings, right? And that's why we need order.
Yeah.
And it's that simple.
Yeah.
It's not like anything that needs to be like I'm better than you, or no, there's a ranking system, because there's once you put things in order, now men can bear a bigger burden than women physically, psychologically. That's just proven.
Right.
Because men can handle stress greater than women. Men can handle the stress of weight greater than women on a average basis, right?
Yeah.
So just in that way, that's why men they're ranked at a different place than women.
Yeah, it's called hierarchy.
Right.
These things exist all throughout nature and the world.
But
we just had a big
watch your language. Watch your language, Jamie.
Problematic language.
But in this world that we live in now, or not even in this realm of society, right? This culture we live in now, there's a disconnect between those who have founded. That's why when you say founding fathers, these things actually carry weight.
Yeah.
So when you divorce yourself from the founding fathers, you don't realize who started it and why you're even in the place you're at now.
Yeah.
It started somewhere.
Right.
And when you're separated from that and you could care less, you don't realize where your privilege came from. You know what I mean? How many, like, this whole white privilege thing is stupid, because so many people, like, especially when mostly brown people, I'll say brown people, want to say white privilege, they're so focused on white people that they miss their own privilege.
Yeah.
They miss what they're privileged in. They don't even see it.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. You miss your privilege. The fact that you can even say that is a privilege. You know?
Yeah, I always say that, and I've said that on here many times, because you hear male privilege all the time too, and that's to create a false sense that female privilege doesn't exist. Everyone reaps the reward of a privilege of some certain thing. It just they're different privileges. Male privilege is different than female privilege.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the red pill stuff, and like this guy's on the red pill a lot, probably because he's able to bring up what the female privilege is in a lot of senses.
But he doesn't even prescribe to the red pill.
Okay. Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Go
ahead.
Lisa responded. She said, I got the first vaccine, and 3 days later, I could not walk without someone helping me.
Wow.
I've been walking with a walker and have to rent scooters. Don't get that vaccine, please.
Lisa, I did not
know
that.
We didn't know.
Yeah. Wow.
We knew that you were walking with the cane and the scooter and everything. I didn't know what caused it, but that is sad.
Wow.
And horrible. Let's keep going with this. So this is the second clip here.
So what do you then see as fundamental human rights?
Fundamental? I don't think, for instance, that people have the right to murder other people. I don't think they have the right to steal from other people. There's kind of an inexhaustive normative list of things that I think we would likely agree on. But on the other hand, I don't see egalitarianism as being a fundamental human right. Never have.
What is egalitarianism, just for people who don't know?
It's to set up a society where everyone is equal on all fronts at all times.
Yeah.
Everything is distributed equally. Everything is, it's like spread around equally. You take from someone who has a lot to give to those that don't have anything.
Which is not, it's not reality.
No, it doesn't work. It only, like, egalitarianism can work in certain instances, like in a small family structure, if you want everything to be fair and you want everyone to get along. But even then, when you operate in that way, you take away the dynamic of reality from your, like, if you got to give your kids the same thing, or they'll argue and fight about it, you take away their understanding of how society works or how the world works. You create that idea, like everyone gets a trophy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that concept has destroyed children and destroyed sports and destroyed.
But again, that's the feminization of our society, because it's funny how it's about equal outcomes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's how most women think. There's something that I feel like
Can't we all win?
I feel like I got a revelation on this. Men care more about solutions. Women care more about conclusions. So they're always looking at the end, and even how they draw. They jump, or you could say men jump to solutions when they're dealing with women, and women jump to conclusions.
That's good.
I mean,
that's good.
So you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in terms of like women, it's easier for them to jump to a conclusion because they're focused on the end, right? And when you look at outcomes, that's about end. That's more of a feminine thing, right? And men love solutions. That's what, like, it's funny because I think his podcast is called The Crucible, and The Crucible is literally, solution is about liquefying something. So when we're dealing with metal, in order to bring it into purity, you have to liquefy it. So liquidity is more about, men love liquidity, women love solidity. You know what I'm saying? Like women like to see it finished,
right?
And men love the process. Women don't want to deal with the process, and men have to take them through the process. It's not that they have to really, like, that's not their desire, right? But men help them in that they don't really want to do,
right?
But women help men to get to the desired end, to get to the conclusion. So we help each other. You know what I mean? But I think what's so messed up is women are leading. That's why I say it's feminization. Women are leading where men need to lead. And single mother homes, like, what do you see with a lot of these single mother homes, right? You're seeing mothers raise up sons, and I don't even call it raising up, but these sons are raised up to be like, I'm going to raise you that you're not like your dad. Or you're just like your dad, and I can't do nothing about it.
Right.
I've drawn a conclusion. See what I mean? Like, it's an end. You're just like your dad, right? Or you're not going to be just like your dad.
Right.
They have the image in their head that they don't want to be or that they want to be, and that's what drives them. And I think that's the biggest issue, where men don't do that. Men are focused on the process. They know that, well, if I do this, this, and this is good for them. They're going to go, they have to struggle.
Right.
So men are going to be like, no, you need to detach from things. The woman wants to attach you to them, and men are like, no, you need to detach. And in that, you're going to struggle. The kid's going to struggle. It's going to be uncomfortable for them, right? But they know the desired end, but they love the process. They love the liquidity. You know what I mean? The purification process.
All right, let's keep going. I will say, like, a lot of stuff that he's saying is funny because the first person I ever heard speak like this was Patrice O'Neal. Like, I don't know if he got it from somewhere. I feel like he didn't. He was kind of like, Patrice O'Neal was a comedian, of course, but he was a comedian with a philosophy, you know, even though it wasn't built in holiness, but it was in a sense of righteousness that he kind of crafted in his own way. And he used to debate feminists that would come on Opie and Anthony all the time, and they would come on, and feminists or like these like sex therapists or whatever would come on there and try to bait him into being a misogynist, and he would go into these arguments with them. And I remember him saying, like, you know, women don't realize that you can only have the views that you have because we let you have those views. You can only speak because we let you speak. Like, you don't even understand the privilege that you have, you know. And I never heard anyone say those things before. And I thought about it, like, yo, that is, like, in a raw sense, that is so true. Like, it doesn't mean that we would, you know, men should act on that or you know, take that approach to women, but it's just, it's for women to understand how, to honor men more and understand that men are their protectors.
That's the key.
Yeah.
It's honor.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is disrespect. Like when people say, you should never hit a woman, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. But the problem is when that becomes your focus and you're pointing the finger at me like I should never, like if my mom is saying you never, as a son, you never hit a woman,
right?
Then, and you're always saying that, then you're putting the problem in my face, and now you're teaching your son, and that's what I didn't say. Mothers will teach their sons an image of what not to be or what to be when they don't even understand that image. Because to really understand that image, you got to go through the process.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Like you don't know how you got there.
Yeah.
That's the thing that men lead women into. How you get there. You know what I mean? And even in terms of like, if you look at Jesus as the husband of the bride, which is the church, right? We actually, the bride helps Jesus get to his desired end, right? But we have to humble ourselves and submit ourselves to him as he leads us through the process of getting to that desired end. And again, we don't see that when we're so focused on the problem and what not to be. Because now I'm like, oh, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be the guy who's beating on my wife. So I'm gonna do everything I can. But the thing is, if I'm focused on, I'm not focused on that, but if I'm honoring the one who came before me that has none of that in him, right? Then I don't even got to worry about being like that.
Yeah.
Because if I trust the one who's leading me, then that won't even be in me. But when I'm insecure and I'm trying to prove myself, that's when we got problems.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's get back into this.
Like I said, in many cases, it's laughable like this one. I certainly don't see OnlyFans as a right. I don't see speech as being necessarily a right. I don't see any of those types of things as being fundamental to the human experience or a human right. So I think you and I would see rights very differently. But unless you have a criticism of those things, which I'm happy to get into, you still are kind of question begging with the whole idea that, well, wait a second. No, it's the majority that gives rights. It's not the majority that gives rights. It's men that give rights. Men are the ones who can bestow them upon you, and they're the ones who can take them away. We know this because collectively women cannot and have not ever been able to do this. Ever.
I was saying that because you were using the thought experiment of imagine 80% you're at war, and then if 80% of the people at war are women and 20% of men, who do you think would win? And I was saying that instance, I think it's not completely out of the realm of possibility that the women would win, but you were disagreeing with that. But let's say they did win. Do women now have a basis for rights?
If women were able to physically overpower and take their rights and give them to themselves somehow, sure. All you have to do is show me where that's ever happened. And I'm happy to say, hey, sometimes they do that, but they don't ever do that and have not ever been able to do that. And the reason they can't do that is because, well, men are way fucking stronger and way more aggressive and have higher testosterone.
In comic books.
Yeah, I was just
the
about
Amazonians.
I was just about to say
Wonder
that.
Woman in a world that don't exist.
Right.
And Disney is attempting to do this over
bro.
and over
in the
again.
Marvel universe. Well, have you heard about the new Star Wars director?
The Star Wars director. I was just about to talk about the show. You know, they did a second season to the show What If, and almost all the episodes on there is about, you know, a powerful woman. You know, Agent Carter being, you know, if she was the one. That was the first season, but she's in it a lot in this one. She's the Captain America.
Okay.
You know, and then there's new characters that they introduced, but it's all women. It's 90% of the storylines is all about powerful women.
Yeah.
And Echo just came out. That is like, Echo is a spinoff of Daredevil.
Okay.
And it's straight up, you know, feminist.
It's fake. It's straight up fake as heck. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Because that can't really happen.
Yeah.
But then you start to, if you keep watching and consuming the things that make you feel good, and I think that's the key right there.
Yeah.
What you feel, right?
Yeah.
Make you feel good. Well, then now you're empowering yourself. But the thing is, it's all a lie.
Yeah.
So you're feeding on something. But
It's crazy to me because like this whole push to act like they need to empower women in these roles, and it's so like unbelievably ridiculous the way they frame these movies. But when you look at back in the day, when you look at Terminator, for example, Terminator 2 and like Alien, they had these strong female lead characters, but it was more believable the way they did things. The way that, like they actually made it make sense.
Yeah,
they weren't just like
Sarah Connor was badass.
But so was I forget the Ridley in
Alien.
Yeah,
I'm not an alien.
Wrigley.
I think.
Yo, the
Ridley.
Alien series is dope, bro. You should dive into that.
I've seen bits and pieces.
Yo, you should watch it from Alien 1 straight through one day. Like when you have some time. Me and Liz did that one time, and it's actually a dope story.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they did it in a way where they were badass and they were the main, hero of the story, but it wasn't they're whooping 10 big ass dudes ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with karate moves. You know what I'm saying? Like you see in these movies now. Where
Echo.
It's like these big dudes and they just these 110-pound women just karate kicking them all over the place. It's just ridiculous.
Disney don't learn. They don't like this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Kenobi, they ruined it with, the whole Leia thing. She's, a 9-year-old kid is just straight up badass, running from grown, alien species or whatever like that. But it's you mentioned the Star Wars. I heard the lady talk. She's Pakistani or something like that, and she's all about feminism. And she says something about like smash the patriarchy.
Yeah,
it's
I think
it's
she
about
said something
it's about
about
time we tell the story from our point of view.
Yeah, and I think she said she's really trying to upset men. Oh, I think I have that.
Yeah.
Why?
She said
Why,
something
though?
like, "I love to see men squirm." Or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
Like that.
Matter of fact, here it is right here. Yep, I knew I had it.
And the first person of color to direct a Star Wars film. It's set to be released in 2026. You can say that the force is strong with this one. Here's Sharmina Bechinoy.
I'm very thrilled about the project because I think what we are about to create is something very special. And we're in 2024 now. And I think it's about time that we had a woman come forward to shape the story in a galaxy far, far away.
Oh, that's not the clip where she said I like to make men squirm, but yeah, that's the lady. Bro.
She really said that?
Yeah, she did. She really said that, dude. I thought that was the clip there, but it wasn't. But anyway, yeah.
What is up with a lot of these like Indian
feminists?
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Indian, Pakistan.
Yeah,
like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, because they don't come from a culture that's really on that time. So
yeah, but it's not based in Christianity or biblical truths. You know what I mean? So maybe that has something to do with it.
All right, let's get back in on this.
And it seems to bother them far less to kill things than it does women. So that's why. Essentially, women are completely under the thumb of men, and everything outside of that is basically just an illusion. It's an illusion that we tell ourselves, but you're always appealing to men for your rights. There's no way around. So again, I need to ask you one more time, can you make the concession that women's rights come from men? If you make that concession and concede that point, we can move on to the next point.
I don't think I can. I think I would. I'm not extremely religious, so I can't give you like a clean theological basis for rights.
She
but
finally figured out how to center herself in her camera. I was like, what is she doing?
I don't think I would agree with that.
Yeah, right. But
I wish I had a better definition.
This is why we
that,
keep
but
on.
I still wouldn't make that concession.
Right. This is why we keep on going round and round on this, right? Because I make an argument. You would end up inevitably agreeing with what I'm saying, but you still won't make the concession on the point because it collapses a large portion of your worldview. This is very common with feminists. You see what I'm saying? Hang on.
Saying that who's able to enforce those rights isn't equivalent to the basis of those rights. So saying just because rights can be violated by men, I don't think that means the basis of those rights is male determined. Does that make sense?
Nope, it doesn't. You're still within the realm of the paradox. So let me try this a different way. What I'm saying to you, the reason I often make this just normative statement to a feminist, that their rights are dependent and reliant on men and men's benevolence. Because if we're malevolent, if we're acting in an evil way, we tend to subjugate, enslave, and things like this, right? But the reason I make this point, even though it's very normative, is because I think most people who are rational agents would just have to kind of agree that it's true on its face. There's really no way to argue with it. But the reason we end up going round and round and round in a circle, and you look more and more absurd every time we circle it again, is because you won't concede to it, because it collapses a portion of your worldview. Men are the enforcers of your rights, not women. Do you agree or disagree with this statement?
I agree that your rights can be physically infringed upon, but I don't know if that's the same as saying that because it can be infringed upon or violated, that means the basis of the right doesn't exist. I guess that's my contention.
Well, who gives you these rights other than the agents who are enforcing them on your behalf? You're not giving them to yourself. So you didn't wake up one morning. You didn't wake up one morning.
I guess political rights are given by men. I'll concede on that. In terms of human rights, I guess I would have to probably research more and think about where I think human rights fundamentally come from. I guess I do see human rights as slightly different than politically afforded rights.
Okay, so where do human rights come from?
Like I said, I think I would have to probably give it a lot more thought.
I think that that's a fair answer. The second thing that you had going off of my list here was progressive values for women lead to less fulfilling lives for progressive women on average. That was the other one that you took contention with. Am I right there?
Or I would just I guess I'd like to hear you elaborate more on it. I've heard conservatives say that women fulfilling traditional roles tend to be happier. Is that kind of the crux of your argument?
Well, it depends on what you mean by a traditional role. So I think people get these confused a bit. I think that a lot of times progressive women are thinking like 1930s or 40s utopian nuclear family dynamic household leave it to beaver style. But that's not actually correct. When we're talking about tradition, we're just basically doing everything within the frame of the religious. So when we're talking about progressive values, they're all based on secularism. So they have nothing to base anything on except their own subjective preferences. And so they end up in this kind of quagmire of contention. But if you want to just go off of empirics, the mental illness for women is off the charts in comparison to men. It's in fact, crazy. Even seeking professionals for women is off the charts in comparison to men. So is the rates that they attempt in adolescent suicide in comparatively to men.
Hold on, real quick. The attempts,
yeah,
which is great. Not the actual committing.
Yeah, men
are better at committing suicide.
Right. Women attempt it more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because, I mean, not to sound crazy, but not to sound, misogynist, but how much of those attempts are really trying to do it? Or is it a cry for help or a need for, some attention?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like men don't really seek attention most of the time. Some men do, feminized men.
Yeah.
But most men don't seek attention in those ways,
As the society, in other words, has become more egalitarian across the board, women seem to be suffering more, not less. In fact, there's a paper here which I can link you, and this paper cites it pretty good. It's called an evolutionary. I'm sorry. It's the paradox of the leadership gaps and the paradox of the gaps when it comes to mental health in women. It asks the question: how come gains in women's rights haven't made women any happier? How come that hasn't actually done anything to produce these happy women that feminism promised us when feminism first began through the suffragettes? Like, what's the what's the aim here? What is the aim of feminism if not a happier, better society for women? Why are they all so fucking miserable the more egalitarian they get?
I guess it depends whether you value hedonism or not. I don't know if a lot of people consider happiness and pleasure as like the ultimate goal of life. Like, I think a woman could say, maybe I'm happier, like less happy in this situation, but I don't necessarily regret it. I think a lot of people do like pursuing something that gives them a sense of purpose. But I don't know if necessarily pursuing something that gives you purpose leads to more pleasure in your life.
Yeah, but what would be your explanation for women having more trouble with mental health and reporting in almost every single individual aspect of their life that they're more miserable than when the polls that came before polled them in years past, where they're saying that they were much happier? And society had a much larger gap between men and women with what women were allowed to do, including things like bank accounts, things like this. I mean, we've definitely come a long way with feminism, especially in the last 40 years, but the miserable index for women is at an all-time high. I can't fathom how that could be possible as we close this gap if feminism is accomplishing its goal, why women are more miserable under it.
I don't know if this is necessarily the answer, but I would say that if you asked me 10 years ago when I'm like 13 years old, if I have anxiety, I would say no, because I don't really have necessarily the self-understanding of what that means, versus if you ask me now, I'd say yes. I don't think that necessarily means that I have more anxiety or that
she can't concede to any points.
It's just crazy to me, like, because she's literally saying, because I am more ignorant, I have less anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Which she's not wrong.
Right.
But the problem is you have more knowledge of things that are actually ignorant. Like, you're ignorant in your knowledge.
Right.
Which makes you anxious, which is the problem.
Right.
It's not that, like, so then she says, well, I have anxiety, but I have a better, what's it called? A better,
grasp. What?
It's trying to think of it. A better quality of life, right? How do you have a better quality of life if you're more anxious?
Yeah.
Like how are you even judging that? You know, what's your gauge for that?
Right.
I don't understand how that may. So it's like, no, be ignorant in terms of what you don't know. Be honest with what you don't know, and only work in what you know to be true. Right? That's different.
Right.
To be true.
Yeah.
That is what gives us security, stability.
Yeah.
But the problem is people are going after the desires, and they're coming into knowledge that is just grabbing from here and over here, and it's all in the sky, right? There's no grounding. It's just I'm grabbing from all these places. Oh, this seems good. Let me get some of that. Oh, that's good. Let me get that. Let me get this. Let me get this. But what comes with it is anxiety, because there's no grounding. There's no stability, right? So then you're like, oh, I got all this. I've had all these experiences, which to me equates to knowledge.
Yeah.
How many people want to go abroad and experience the world, right? But then they come back with a bunch of demons.
Especially women. They love traveling, seeing the world, going on these journeys, self-reflective journeys.
Right. And then
eat, pray, love.
and then what do? They think of themselves in a higher.
Yeah.
Like they even talk like they're better than you.
Right.
A lot of times, you know, like they think they're, oh, I've done this, I've done that.
Yeah.
You know, not saying everybody, but that's what happens a lot of times. Oh, have you done this? You need to do this. They think that their experience equates to knowledge, which is it's not the truth.
Right.
So then you take that experience, you think it's knowledge, but there's no grounding on that experience and that knowledge, or even how you went into it, right? Because who led you? No, you just went into yourself
whimsically.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Couldn't say it. You went into that, and you had nobody who led you in wisdom, because you don't honor anybody.
Right.
Right? Because what you honor is your own desire and your own feelings to be happy. That's what she's dealing with right now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And now she's trying to make an explanation for it, which doesn't make any sense. And she doesn't see her break from reality. And that's why we need grace from men. Now, this is the other thing. Like, men have to have the grace and the love, the patience to be able to bring about a solution. Solutions take time and patience.
Right.
And I was thinking about it like this. Solutions are like, you know how it says, there's a scripture that really made me think about this. I think it's 2 Timothy. Hold on, let me look real quick. 2 Timothy, 2:14. Remind them of these things, charging them there before the Lord, not to strive about words to no profit, to the ruin of the hearers. Right? That's what a lot of people are doing. They're hearing, and then they think it's going to profit them, but it brings them no profit.
Wow.
Right? To the ruin of the hearers, right? Be diligent to present yourself approved to God, a worker who does not need to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So, the word solution is about division. It's about dividing.
Okay.
It's about breaking down.
Right.
So isn't it interesting that when you cook a meal, especially meat, it starts to break down. The tendons break down. The meats break down.
Right.
The when you cook it in water, the juices break down, right? You have a stew.
Yeah.
Right?
Or a braising. Yeah.
Right. But what it becomes easier to digest. And I believe that that's what men are supposed to be doing for women. Breaking things down. That's what men are good at. Or that's what they care about more. Women don't care about breaking these things down. Women care about the conclusion.
Yeah.
Right? And women, but you can lead women into the breaking down of things, right? And then they come to the right conclusion.
Right.
They get there with you. All right.
Let's see what we got. Jeffrey said, "Good to see you all tonight, Young Lion." Shout out to Jeffrey Wowling, our King level Patreon member, and our pops. We appreciate you for tuning in. Shout out to everybody else watching. I saw a bunch of people on Instagram watching live. I don't know. I was trying to find the feed again, but it looked like it might have froze up. But if you're on Instagram, let us know. Hit the like and write a comment. Let us know if you're still watching over there. Stan said that the Patreon link wasn't working on Rumble. I just fixed it. So the Patreon link is working on Rumble. If you want to click on that and you're watching on Rumble, I see a few people watching over there. That is fixed. All right. Almost done with this video, and then we move on.
My life is worse than it was 10 years ago. I would say by every metric, my life is significantly better and that I'm significantly more fulfilled. So I think likewise, if women are kind of relegated to the household into traditional roles and they're kind of isolated and they can't really A/B test what life is like outside of it, then I think it's easier to dismiss negative feelings. Like I think you need to have
So wait, hang on. I
positive
just want to make
feelings
sure I
from
got this
negative and
right.
vice versa.
I want to make sure I got this right. I want you to understand that the argument you just made was you said it's because those dumb housewives haven't experienced anything outside of being dumb housewives. So basically, it's blissful in their ignorance. That's what you're saying.
I don't know if I would say dumb. I would say sometimes, For instance, I think I saw a statistic that says in some countries, like in less developed countries, people there also report more happiness. But I don't think the average Western person would say that they have a better life necessarily. Like I think we could look at them and say, okay, there are ways in which they have, in some ways, a lower quality of life, right? So that's why I don't know if just the self-reporting on happiness is a good enough indication.
Well, no, that wouldn't be. But have the information right here. More than a quarter of American women, 26%, take drugs, which include antidepressants. 26%. And more than a quarter of all women take antidepressants.
What is it, Andrew? What is it for
26,
men?
What's that?
What is that number for men, just so we have a comparison?
Varies between 12 to 15%.
Okay, got it.
So it's much lower. Okay, much lower. Same thing with antipsychotics. Okay, women aren't doing so hot, and all this egalitarianism that you've been pushing for, that has been going full throttle. You've been getting everything that you feminists have wanted, and when it's delivered unto you, you seem to go batshit fucking crazy. Isn't that weird? Isn't that odd to you?
I think the number of people on antidepressants has gone up in general, even for men, right?
Slightly, yes, but the
So what would
deviation
you
between
attribute
men and
that
women.
uptick to? What would you attribute that uptick in male usage of antidepressants to?
I would say it's due to male oppression. The fact that men have been systematically oppressed inside of the United States under these horrific egalitarian laws, where we don't have egalitarianism at all, but rather we get raped in divorce courts. The laws are fundamentally unfair, and for the same crime that a woman is charged with, men are unfairly punished. The suicide rates of men are sky high in comparison to women. They get the job done. It's not that women don't attempt it, but it's mostly a cry out for help because they take pills, and then they call somebody and say, I took some pills, come save me. They put that up to a suicide attack, whereas men just get the job done, right? They just take a gun, and that's the way that they end up handling that. So all of these things, I would say that men are unfairly oppressed in society, and that's led to a slight uptick, and there seems to be enough correlates there for me to make such a bold claim. But I would like to still know, because we seem to just be begging the question, why in the world do you think that women who have more egalitarianism now than ever before, have more of these gaps closed than ever before, are more fucking miserable than ever before? Yes, my point is that, again, as countries have become more and more egalitarian under feminism, and this is feminist women and feminist men who are coming together under the same banner of I heart women's rights, it's become more egalitarian. Why is it that the index for all of these mental illnesses and problems for women are through the roof, when feminism made the promise that these things should necessarily decrease?
Yeah. That's a fact. And you look at, I talk about this a lot with people about the fact that the birth rates are lower. Women aren't having as many kids. Women aren't really fulfilling that purpose in their life as well, because they're told that they shouldn't want those things. They're pushed more into a selfish lifestyle where you chase your career and you chase, you party through your 20s, you date around, you chase your career, college, your education, and then by the time you're ready to settle down and look for a husband,
you're old.
You're old, but you also got to spend time finding the right one. Yeah. So then by the time you're ready to have kids, you physically can only have one or two kids.
Yeah.
And if you can even do that.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, like you see when he asked her the question, she judged the people who would be more traditional and said, I guess it's because they're ignorant and they're not paying attention to their feelings.
Yeah.
Because they haven't had outside experiences.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, to me, she doesn't even equate for the fact that, well, that's the problem. You're experiencing all these other things. It's kind of like women who have more sexual partners are more likely to get divorced.
Yeah.
Because they can't be pleased.
Right.
Right. Because they've had too many experiences.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
And I think there's even studies that show that once you pass a certain number of partners, the normal pair bonding, like physical, there's a biological pair bonding that happens with women hormonally to men when they have sex with them, but that starts to go away once you pass a certain number of sexual partners.
Yeah. I'd like to see, I'd like to see how she feels in 20 years.
Yeah.
25 years. She's all, cute and, having fun now. What's
well, she's an OnlyFans model too.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's profiting off of her youth and beauty at the moment. So it's going to be hard for her to see, all the women that do that are feminists because it's how they justify their lifestyle and their choices. All right, so let's go to this clip. This looks like a Twitter clip right here. Woman says she has 2 transgender children who tried to end their lives. Okay.
Talk about how it impacts us personally. Again, when I first started writing testimony 2 years ago, I shared that my greatest fear for my 2 transgender children as a parent is the risk of suicide. We've heard about that a lot tonight, and it's real. It's not hypothetical. Since I first wrote those words, it went from being a fear to being a reality. Both of my children have attempted suicide. I have so much more passion I could share with you, but I will stop there. We could stop the conversation there, but let's talk.
So that's the clip there. So first of all, what are the odds that you have 2 transgender children?
Well, that's the next video.
Okay. Okay.
It's not exactly, but it's like basically.
And she said both of them have attempted suicide. Is
Yeah.
she saying before they is she trying to advocate for transitioning your children? Like, what is she trying to advocate for?
It's unclear.
She's it's a testimony for trans and also
like
doing the surgeries.
Why we need to implement these surgeries.
Yeah.
And why we need to give them gender affirming care, the so-called gender affirming care, because they'll attempt to commit suicide.
So they tried to attempt to end their life before.
Right. But we're unsuccessful. And what did we just talk about with the unsuccessful ones?
What do you mean?
Never mind. We were just talking about it with how females attempted more. And we were equating that to a certain thing.
Yeah. They were unsuccessful. It's a feminine,
you know what I'm saying?
Attention-seeking thing.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to this clip from Jordan Peterson on this, clearly on Joe Rogan, when you see that curtain in the background.
Yeah.
Trans kid is 1 in 3,000. That's not a very high chance. And let's say the chance that you have a pansexual kid is the same, whatever pansexual means. I don't even know how to calculate those odds. But whatever that is rarer than trans, because no one ever even heard about it until 5 years ago. So the joint probability that you have a trans kid and a pansexual kid is 1 in 9 million. The odds that you're a pathological narcissist sacrificing your own children to the glorification of your compassion is 8,999,999 to 1.
Wow.
So, like, do you have a trans kid and a pansexual kid, or are you a devouring mother? Well, you can look at the odds and decide for yourself.
Jesus.
Oh.
I've seen this.
I choose the latter.
Yeah.
I choose the latter.
So I just want to read like what a devourer, because he says it's devouring mother.
Yeah.
And it's a devouring mother. Let me see.
Devouring kingdoms.
A mother that gets too close to her children and intervenes in their lives. In her attempts to protect her children, she undermines and infantilizes them, making adulthood and self-sufficiency near impossible.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Look at Jazz Jennings' mom. Look at like all of these stories that we see of these parents of people that are having children going through these things. It's always that energy, that devouring mother energy.
Yeah.
You know, and for this lady to have 2 transgender kids and they're both committing suicide, like it's the same as, look at a lot of these celebrities. What are the odds that all of these actresses, actors have transgender kids?
Yeah. Well, again, it's the feminization of this country. It's women leading. You know, in Job, it reminded me of when Job says, like, for the thing that I feared came upon me. Like, she's talking about this, but she feared it and it came upon her. Right. But they weren't successful at doing it. And even in terms of like where it says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. But in Psalms, it says all those who practice it have good understanding.
Yeah.
So when you practice the fear of the Lord, you come into understanding, right? Those who practice it. Remember we were talking about this earlier, like it's a practice.
Yeah.
When you feel anxious, you have to set yourself, you go back, you give it to God, right? In prayer and supplication. That's a practice, right? And then the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. So we're learning how to humble ourselves. That's another one. 1 Peter 5, humble yourself under the mighty hand of God, so that God will, at the proper time, he'll exalt you, right? And then it says, casting your anxieties on him or your cares on him because he cares for you. So again, we're giving up our power. But you see, when we're talking about women can do it, women are empowered, women, they want to draw, you're drawing your own conclusion to something that if you would just sit back and look a little bit, you would recognize, I really don't have the power to do this because I can't stop the thing that I'm trying to stop.
Right.
It's still happening. So you're going to go further into pride and try to stop something that you don't know how to stop by bringing about solutions that you have no idea what you're talking about to bring about a conclusion. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But the reason why you can't see it is because you're proud. You're proud. You're prideful. And you think you can do it because women can do everything.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the problem. So men, and I'm definitely not saying women are the problem.
Yeah.
At all. What I'm saying is that men are actually the problem because men are not taking up their rightful role of leadership to say no. Right. And this is what we need to do to humble themselves. Right. And learn how to be able to speak to women in a way where they can humble themselves, right? Because in the realm of this world, men are the hierarchy.
Yeah.
You can't change that. No matter how much you want to act like we're going to do away with the patriarchy, it's not going to change.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is the way it is in terms of how everything works.
Yeah.
You can't get around that. Right? We just went through all that stuff there.
Yeah.
But if we in the name of love
and egalitarianism,
but I'm saying love, but it's a false love, right? It's this fake love, because that's really what it's. Love is love. This fake love. In the name of this fake love, we give up our rights. We give up our roles as men, and then things go crazy.
Yeah.
And things go into chaos, and then we wonder why our kids got to where they got to, and that's the sad thing.
Yep. All right, let's play one more clip here. I want to play this before we wrap it up because I gotta end things. So, this is another clip you sent me from Instagram.
Far from even making porn lit a requirement, but if you're asking what would I like to see done, I'd like to see pornography literacy be embedded and integrated in school environments, in middle school and high school. I would like to see parents unlearning all of the things that they have, been conditioned to believe around gender and sexuality and bodies. and agency so that they can disrupt and be the generation of parents that creates and cultivates healthy, fully formed, fulfilled sexuality for their young people.
What?
And then those young people are getting sex ed so that they become, parents or the older generation of leaders that are continuing that sex positivity in our world. But that's a huge cultural shift, and that's a big ask. So
that's a huge cultural shift. That's complete just giving ourselves into degeneracy. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, she said healthy right there. Like, do you see? He was just talking about the mental health, right? Men too.
Yeah.
Right? That's because that's what he was saying. Like, that's the problem. When men give up their place, now I don't know what role I play.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know what role I play. Am I even useful for anything?
Right.
So yeah, suicides are going to go up. Because what's the point of me living in this world? It doesn't make sense. When things are out of order, you can't see how it makes sense.
Yeah.
And when you're letting people like this lead, it's not going to make any sense.
But they're being made to feel like they should lead because they have some degree in, child psychology or whatever it is that makes them some fake authority on things.
Right.
And we're just blindly supposed to just let them, tell us how we should raise our kids, which is crazy. Like, when your own innate intuition tells you like everything about this is wrong, but you're like, but this is what they're saying we should do. Like, no, we've known for decades that if you overexpose children to sex at an early age, it corrupts them and it causes issues. And we shouldn't be doing that. We should not be putting these ideas into their head and giving them. But man, there's so many studies that show the issues with pornography,
Yeah,
and the impact that it has on society.
Dude, how many movies have we seen in the movies? Usually it's like these rom-coms or these, cheeky movies where women are trying to push men to read books because somebody told them they're important to read for their family or raising kids or having a baby.
Read this book about having a baby.
Or even like relationships. Yeah. Like how many times, and they're like pushing this on their husbands, and the husbands are like, all right, whatever. Like, and they just do it but the women are the ones that are like pushing this because they're being fed all this knowledge, and men ain't doing their job. What's their job? Guarding.
Yeah.
You enforcing, checking them, leading them in the process of solutions, right? Where it's like, well, why do you think that book matters? Where'd it come from?
Yeah.
Who'd you get it from?
Yeah.
Who wrote it? Let's look at who wrote it. Let's figure who's leading them in any of this stuff, right? Where's it coming from?
Well, Oprah told me it was good.
Yeah.
Okay, but who's Oprah? What's her life like?
Right.
Is she married? Like, she don't have kids. Like, they don't. that part doesn't get thought all the way through.
But men aren't doing it.
How does Steve Harvey?
But she's rich.
She's a rich celebrity. How does Steve Harvey become the arbiter of relationship advice?
4 divorces.
Yeah, it's like we got to do better, guys. Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up there, guys. We got to a lot of stuff tonight. Thank you guys for watching another episode of the Young Lion TV podcast. We are live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. if we can start on time, but we're getting better. But make sure you guys share this video if you appreciate these type of conversations, talking about these issues. If you think it's something that you can get down with, you can also become a Patreon member and support what we do by going to our Patreon, patreon.com/YoungLionTV. And for as little as $3 a month, you can support what we're doing here, help us spread the word. Don't forget, we got merch, we got music, we got a show coming up for those that want to see us perform live in the Philly area. We will be at the Loft at City Winery in Philadelphia on February 29th, which is Leap Day. So, this is a leap year. So on your leap day, if you want to come out and do something special, come to our show. It's going to be a good evening. Tickets go on sale on Friday. So snatch those up because they will be going fast.
Shout out Jeff?
Yeah, we did. I shouted him out. Thank you guys for watching. All the Patreon members, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys more than you could possibly know. You guys are the reason we can do this every week, and we'd like to do it more. So if we get some more support, we can do that. Make sure you guys share and like the video on your way out. Hit the notification bell if you're on YouTube, and you'll know when every time we go live or post a video, because we're posting up clips every so often. So stay tuned for those. Shout out to everybody. We love you. Thank you guys for coming in, and thank you, Lise, for doing this. We love you, and good night. Peace.
Young lion, go live, yeah. Young lion, you rich, yeah. This kingdom has room, yeah. Go and fight people.